Good morning, children. Today we shall do a topic in English grammar. Our topic for today is sentences and clauses. Children, if you want, you can note down the points and explanation discussed in the video. You can make a note of it on a file sheet paper or a notebook where you can refer to it for learning. Children, we had already learned that a sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. Now, a sentence also contains clauses. A clause is another name for a group of words. A clause can form a part of a sentence, or it can be a complete sentence in itself. A clause contains a subject and a main verb. There are two types of clauses. One is a main clause and the other is a subordinate clause. A main clause is a group of words that can stand alone and make sense. It contains a subject and a verb. For example, look at this sentence. You will succeed if you work hard. Now, if we divide this sentence into two groups, such as you will succeed as one group and if you work hard as another group, we can see that one group of words can stand alone and make sense, and the other group of words does not stand alone and make sense. The group of words you will succeed can stand alone and make sense, therefore, it is the main clause of the sentence. C. It also contains a subject, that is you, and a verb, that is will, in the sentence. Here are some examples of sentences that show the main clause. The first sentence: he runs in the open field when he feels like it. The group of words he runs in the open field stands alone and makes complete sense. Therefore, it is the main clause of the sentence. Look at the second sentence. As he was not there, I could not speak to him. Here, the group of words I could not speak to him stands alone and makes complete sense. Therefore, it is the main clause of the sentence. Similarly, in the third sentence, the team could hear the crowd who were cheering loudly. The group of words the team could hear the crowd is the main clause of the sentence as it stands alone and makes sense. Even the last sentence, at the weekend we went to visit our granddad. The group of words we went to visit our granddad is the main clause of the sentence since it stands alone and makes complete sense. Subordinate clause is a group of words that cannot stand alone and make sense, but is dependent on the main clause to complete its meaning. Hence, it is sometimes called as a dependent clause. A subordinate clause begins with a subordinating conjunction. For example, look at this sentence. The mice will play when the cat is away. Now, if I divide this sentence into two groups, such as The mice will play as one group, and when the cat is away as another group. We can see that one group of words can stand alone and make sense, and the other group of words do not stand alone and make sense. The group of words "when the cat is away" cannot stand alone and make sense, but it is dependent on the other part of the sentence, which is the main clause, to complete its meaning. Therefore, the group of words which does not make sense, that is, "when the cat is away," is the subordinate clause of the sentence. See, this clause begins with a subordinating conjunction when. Here are some examples of sentences that show the subordinate clause. The first sentence: after we had lunch, we went back to work. The group of words "after we had lunch" does not stand alone and make complete sense, but it is dependent on the other part of the group of words to complete its meaning. This group of words begins with a subordinating conjunction. Hence, it is the subordinate clause of the sentence. See the second sentence. I am not cooking your dinner unless you do the washing up. The group of words "unless you do the washing up" begins with a subordinating conjunction unless. This group of words doesn't make sense either on its own, but is dependent on the other part of the sentence to complete its meaning. Therefore, this group of words is a subordinate clause of the sentence. The third sentence: we left the room before he started talking again. The group of words "before he started talking again" begins with the subordinating conjunction before. These group of words don't stand alone and complete its meaning. Therefore, it is a subordinate clause of a sentence. The fourth sentence: the helicopter landed because it was too windy to fly. The group of words "because it was too windy to fly" begins with a subordinating conjunction because. This group of words cannot stand alone and complete its meaning, but is dependent on the other part of the sentence for its completion. Hence, this group of words is a subordinate clause. There are types of subordinate clauses. The first one, noun clause. A clause or a group of words that does the work of a noun is called a noun clause. Noun clauses often begin by the word that. Look at the first sentence. She knows that I am not a fool. The group of words that I am not a fool is the noun clause in the sentence. It begins by the word that. See the second sentence. Your problem was that nobody understood you. The group of words that nobody understood you is a noun clause in the sentence. It begins by the word that. To identify the noun clause, we can ask the question who or what to the verb of the sentence. See the first sentence. She knows what? I get the answer that I am not a fool. And the answer that I am not a fool is the noun clause of the sentence. Again, in the second question, your problem was what? That nobody understood you is the answer, which is the noun clause of the sentence. Noun clauses also begin with WH words such as who, what, when, why, and where. For example, the first sentence. Everyone knows who the Prime Minister is. The group of words who the Prime Minister is the noun clause in the sentence. It begins with the word who. Also, if I ask the question, everyone knows what? I get the answer, who the Prime Minister is. The second sentence, I don't understand. What are you saying? The group of words, what are you saying, is the noun clause in the sentence. It begins with the WH word what. Also, if I ask the question, what to the verb of the sentence, I don't understand what, I get the answer, what are you saying, which is the noun clause of the sentence. So therefore, to conclude, noun clauses begin with the words that and WH words who, what, when, why, and where. Even to identify a noun clause of the sentence, we can ask the question who or what to the verb. Relative clauses. A relative clause follows a noun and tells us more about that noun. Relative clauses are clauses starting with the relative pronouns who, that, which, whose, where, and when. For example, look at the first sentence. The woman who lives next door works in a bank. The group of words who lives next door is a relative clause. It begins with the relative pronoun who. This clause follows after the noun the woman. The group of words who lives next door tells us more about the woman. Now children, as we know that relative clauses are part or they are a type of a subordinate clause. Now subordinate clause does not necessarily come at the beginning or the end of a sentence. It can also appear in between the sentence. So if the group of words who lives next door is our subordinate relative clause, then what is our main clause? Our main clause of this sentence is the woman works in a bank. Let's move to the second sentence. These are the flights that have been cancelled. The group of words that have been cancelled is a relative clause. It begins with the relative pronoun that. This group of words follow after the noun flights. The group of words that have been cancelled tells us more about the flights. Now children, do not get confused between noun clauses and relative clauses. A noun clause will always begin after a verb, and a relative clause will always begin after a noun. Adverbial clause. An adverbial clause is a group of words that does the work of an adverb. All adverb clauses answer one of the classic adverb questions: when, why, how, and where. Adverb clauses begin with common subordinating conjunctions such as before, after, as, because, even though, although, until, even, and while. For example, look at the sentence: wherever there is music, people will dance. The group of words wherever there is music is an adverb clause as it answers the question where. The second sentence: she has to leave when the clock strikes midnight. The group of words When the clock strikes midnight is an adverb clause as it answers the question when. The third sentence, she passed the exam because she worked hard. The group of words because she worked hard is an adverb clause as it answers to the question why. And the fourth sentence, you can buy a new car if you save some money. The group of words if you save some money is an adverb clause as it answers the question how.